Protesters and ICE agents here. A woman was shot after she allegedly attempted to hit federal officers with her car. Then in Broadview, Illinois, that's about a half-hour west of the city, the Department of Homeland Security is reporting that law enforcement officers were rammed by vehicles and boxed in by 10 cars. That's where we find News Nation's Mills Hayes. Mills, what are you seeing out there today?
Hi, Kelly. Well, there are more protesters that have started to come here to this Broadview ICE facility. We know there's some more activity. Also, where that woman was shot, you mentioned that. Now, we also know that Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says that President Trump plans to federalize 100 Illinois National Guard troops to help protect ICE personnel and facilities. We expect this crowd here at the Broadview ICE facility to grow throughout the night. Now, meanwhile, DHS is speaking out after a woman was shot by federal law enforcement officers after allegedly trying to ram Border Patrol agents with her car. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem posting on X saying, quote, members of our brave law enforcement were attacked, rammed, and boxed in by 10 vehicles, including an attacker with a semi-automatic weapon, adding that she is deploying more special operations to control the scene. The FBI is investigating, and the woman is in critical condition at the hospital. Protesters responding nearby the incident, angry about ICE activity in the area. One woman saying her son, who is a U.S. citizen, was detained earlier today by immigration officials. All of this happening after Secretary Noem's visit to the Broadview ICE facility, where protests have been intense. She did not take questions from the press. Border Patrol Commander at Large Gregory Bovino leading the arrest outside the facility on Friday. DHS says that 13, quote, rioters were arrested during the standoff, with Illinois State Police joining federal law enforcement officers in trying to keep protesters back. Meanwhile, Operation Midway Blitz enforcement operations continue. This video showing the moments that federal law enforcement deployed tear gas from their SUV in front of a Hispanic grocery store while community activists tried to impede ICE vehicles. A similar situation outside a local hospital where tear gas was deployed while protesters tried to block law enforcement vehicles. Chicago alderperson Jesse Fuentes was briefly put in handcuffs at that hospital after trying to get more information about an undocumented man who was injured during an arrest. And at the hospital, protesters saying that there is no need for the National Guard.
We're here today because we don't know what else to do. I mean, what's happening in this country is insane. I heard just this morning, first thing, of a father of a student in my children's school district being kidnapped by ICE and taken. I don't know all the details. This is affecting communities. It's affecting everyone.
Sorry.
And I reached out to Chicago Public Schools. They confirmed to me that there were federal law enforcement immigration officers near an elementary school in Logan Square neighborhood just yesterday. And they continue to say that the safest place for students and staff is still at school despite...
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Kamal.
I'm Enzo.
I'm Skeptic.
And shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody in the building. Please hit the like button. Shout out to Southern Mess. She was the first here tonight. Shout out to John. Thank you guys for rocking with us. And tonight we are going to talk about a very polarizing topic that's affecting our nation. As you guys can see in the clip, that clip was regarding what's going on at the protest for the ICE facilities. Enzo, I know you debate every night. What do you think about what's happening? What did you think about the kidnappings?
Kidnapping. Like, let's be so fucking honest right now. ICE is not kidnapping people, okay? They're taking illegal migrants and people that are not authorized to be in the United States into custody the same way that police officers conduct investigations and arrest people. So if we're saying ICE is kidnapping people, then police officers are kidnapping people. It's the same exact thing. They're both law enforcement. And to the girl who got shot for fucking around and find out, I'm sorry, that's what's going to happen. I mean, have you seen on the news what's happening with ICE facilities and all these protests and shooting them up and everything like that? Yeah, they're going to be on guard. It's literally shoot first, ask questions later at this point because you guys want to mess around and do whatever you do at this point. I have no sympathy for any of these idiots that are going to go out there and protest federal officers from doing their job.
Skeptic, you're on the opposite end of this. Can you tell me why she's saying people are being kidnapped? I do honestly want to understand why is she using such a strong word? And if not, I can come back to you, boo.
Well, I think it's like if you have really looked into what's going on in Alligator Alcatraz, there's 1,000 immigrants that went missing, whom information we cannot find, which is interesting. We're talking about the undocumented ones. You do have people that are being detained at ICE facilities that are citizens. And so now in California, they're able to, discriminate against you because you speak Spanish, the way you look, and where you work at. If you have a low income job, they can question you just for looking a certain way or working in a certain, place. And now we're seeing that in facilities where immigrants are being held, the people are going missing. You can't find the information. So I don't know if kidnapping is the correct word. We can play semantics with what word we should use, but whatever is going on, it's wrong. Like the fact that we have sent immigrants to a country that they don't belong to, El Salvador, when they're from Venezuela, and they have been held in, the worst jail that you could think of, worse than any other jail here in our country. They didn't go through proper due process. And we want to sit there and be like, oh, this isn't kidnapping. What word do you want to use?
Well, it's strong language coming from both sides tonight. I want to in particular play the mayor and what he said.
I've also said for the last couple of years that the extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War. They have repeatedly called for a rematch. But in the coming weeks, we will use this opportunity to build greater resistance. Chicagoans are clear. Militarizing our troops in our city as justification to further escalate a war in Chicago will not be tolerated.
Gray, he used pretty strong language. Are we close to seeing a civil war? I mean, he's basically saying that people are looking for a repeat. Is it both sides? Is it one side? What do you think?
Well, what they try to say the Civil War was about is about states' rights. So it's definitely about power. No one, if you run for office and you control your state, you're not going to want the federal government doing anything. That's your power. You control that section, that place of the country. So either way, regardless of right or left, no one's going to want to submit their power to Trump if they're in power in that city or that state.
Wow. Well, it's interesting. He's taking that stance. Let's hear what the superintendent had to say, and then I'm going to have Kamal respond.
Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county. And you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe.
So, Kamal, what's your thoughts? He seems to be pretty clear in saying that if you're doing things that you're causing harm to the agents, blocking traffic, blocking the agents from doing their job, you are committing a crime. Do you agree or disagree?
I mean, they were saying like the chick was trying to ram them with the car, though, right? That's
right.
Blocking some shit. That's trying to run somebody over with a fucking car. You feel me? I'm surprised I ain't seeing more ass whoopings. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, she got shot. She got shot.
Yeah, but I'm surprised I ain't seeing more ass whoopings. Okay, because I remember, you know, when we protesting shit, ass whoopings galore. You feel me? I'm like this. First of all, Baby Mohawk, Brandon Johnson, he got to shut the F up. Because the people out in the shy, you feel me? My Black Americans actually want the ICE agents there. From Mark Carter to P. Ray. You feel me? We had P. Ray on the platform already. You feel me? They want the ICE agents there. You feel me? I feel the people that's arguing for illegal immigrants, I ain't gonna lie, they're retarded. Like, that don't make sense. You feel me? It's like, and that be another thing. It's like, you know, I'm just tired of that shit where they keep saying that we're talking about immigrants. No, we keep talking about illegal immigrants that's out here illegally taking resources from us and shit. And they are, it's true. It's like people that say they not doing it, y'all fucking lying. Okay? I'm tired of that bullshit. And I'm about to call ISIS on my fucking cat. This motherfucker loud as hell today. God damn.
What's his name?
His name is Tiggs. I'm about to deport his ass. God damn. Tiggs.
Not the cat.
Leave the cat alone.
Goodness gracious. He is loud today. Like, my goodness.
Oh, I got two cats. Like, leave them alone.
But if we're talking about Chicago, though, it's just not true that people are not being attacked because police officers were maced or they sent like pepper spray to literally affected police officers that were just working. Like ICE agents did this to other officers. And then like you can't just say something and not have the evidence to say that they're taking resources because people that are here undocumented are paying taxes, but they're ineligible for food stamps. They're ineligible for Medicaid, for Medicare, for Social Security. I mean, like, that's just facts. It's just factual to say that. How can you say they're taking resources if you don't have the facts to back that up? They are paying into the system. So if they benefit in some sort, like AKA free school for their children who are American citizens, they're not taking resources.
Yeah, but the thing is though, Skeptic, like I hear what you're saying, but they're not paying their share into the system to the level of getting the resources they get. When their kids go in school, especially if they don't speak English, they're getting extra resources. They're getting put in ESOL classes. They're getting extra help. They're also they don't have insurance because they're working under the table. So they don't have insurance. Whenever they go to the hospital, that hospital bill on average is $3,000 to $5,000. That's coming from American taxpayers that are paid that do have SSN, that do have proper insurance. So I have to disagree with you on that. I have to push back on that.
But we can look at the billions of dollars that they paid in taxes, and what you're saying, when we look at the numbers, just doesn't add up, because undocumented immigrants don't go to the hospital unless they are about to die. They literally will go for last minute resorts. Like, we're talking emergency. And the reality of it is that we don't have, like, healthcare is about to get, if we want to talk about healthcare, and if we care about healthcare, the premiums for healthcare for Americans are about to be doubled.
Yeah, but Skeptic, when they having babies,
like,
when they having babies, let me tell you, I just had a son 3 years ago, so don't play that shit with me. When they're having kids, them kids cost $10,000 to $100,000 sometimes when they go in the hospital. They have to have healthcare when they have them babies. They on WIC too. Don't tell me that.
Hold on.
That they're having
Let me say
are
something,
American
Skeptic.
citizens.
Skeptic, let me say something. Mathematically, what the right is saying makes zero sense. Economics across the political spectrum generally agree that immigrants, including undocumented ones, are a net benefit or a small fiscal burden, depending on the study and the region. Mathematically, is what she's saying is correct. Uniform border commutes, for example,
no, it's not.
No, I have the numbers right here. So undocumented immigrants, hold on, real quick. Let me take this real quick. So undocumented immigrants bring in $92 billion a year into the United States. Okay.
And the thing about it is, here, and
hold
on,
on,
to like try and break this down, but he's pro tariffs, and we know that tariffs are detrimental.
We're not okay.
So we're just gonna take his word.
Pivots are crazy.
We're not talking about tariffs. We're talking about
the
taxes.
pivot's
Healthcare
crazy.
is about to be tanked by all of the policies that the right has been like supporting. So don't come and tell me that you care about healthcare and how expensive.
All right, so
can
I just want to
say
make a point real
something
quick. Can I just
after
say this real
Enzo?
quick? Yeah, so undocumented immigrants, ones who legally can be in the United States by administrative means, right? Not illegal immigrants, they only bring in $92 billion a year into federal taxes that they don't take from. You're absolutely correct, Skeptic. Where you're absolutely wrong is, though, where illegal migrants take $150 billion from the system and are a strain onto the United States economy to the tune, again, of $150 billion. So the undocumented ones bringing in the 92 still leaves us at a $40 billion detriment to the United States. It does not equate.
So you're incorrect in your numbers. I'm just going to tell you that, because I've looked at the overall 15-year, and I want to say that refugees was one of the numbers that I had. It was like $400 billion, I want to say, and they were a net positive, and I'm talking the legal ones, were a net positive by like almost 200. I don't know if it was millions or trillions of dollars. I don't remember, billions, but they were definitely a net positive. When we talk about undocumented immigrants, they're even cheaper. Like, they're cheap labor. They pay their taxes. And on top of that, they don't use the resources because they're ineligible. The one thing that they are eligible for is what Nora just said. When they have children and their children are American citizens, their children are eligible for federal programs and subsidies. So like, they are a net positive. I have spoken to economists. I have done the research. I have seen they are a net positive. We're seeing a decrease.
You're wrong.
Okay, so let me finish. We're seeing farmers not be able to sell their crops. We're seeing farmers not have workers. We're seeing construction sites not being able to move forward because they have no workers. And here we are talking about what we care about healthcare. Like, here these people are paying into our system, and we're deporting the ones that are going into their immigration courts. We're not deporting the ones that are illegal, because newsflash, they're not going to the courthouses. The ones that are being arrested at the courthouses are the ones that try to do it correctly. But the ones that, ICE is sitting outside waiting for them. The raids, if you go and look at the numbers, the raids that they have been conducting haven't been mass incarcerating undocumented immigrants. So that is another like bombshell lie that the right is trying to push on us.
All right, cool. So you just said a bunch of bullshit and didn't have any substance. So as per what's this website? Let me bring it up for you. The Baker Institute current research puts the net annual physical cost to taxpayers nationwide at $150.7 billion for illegal migrants.
They paid in the billions.
$92 billion undocumented migrants, $92 billion. Illegal migrants take $150 billion.
No, they do not.
150
billion. More than 92.
Okay, I'm not going to deny. I'm not going to sit here and talk to somebody that denies reality. You get proven point wrong all the time. Just stop, please.
Hold on.
I can't do it.
Okay, wait. Time out. Let Kamal and Mia speak.
Hold on.
Let Kamal and Mia speak.
I got to tell you, y'all both right though. So Enzo is actually 100 billion that they contribute, but Skeptic, we pay 150 billion of this shit. So y'all both right, technically. So
explain to me. So explain to me this, because since this administration has come in, there has been all these studies that have come out. How are we paying? How are we paying the undocumented immigrants?
I don't fucking know, but it says it right here.
We have to know because we can't just take your word for it. How are we paying them if
Net
they're
physical cost.
How are we
Hold on, let
The
Kamal
strain on the
answer.
economy.
It says it right here. I'm looking it up like most panels don't do, using Google or Perplexity. I'm looking this shit up right here. I typed it in.
You're using Google
it says it right
AI
here
to tell me how it is that we.
Then what should I use?
So I have a question.
No,
so
I
I
want to
feel like
what it
I
is that
can
we pay
partially
for
I
answer
just
that.
named 3 things.
Okay. Can we talk about Chicago for 2 seconds? I haven't really had to say anything. I just got here. Sorry, I'm tardy to the party. Clearly, this party is popping. Sorry, I'm tardy to the party. I mean, so I don't think we're not giving illegal migrants payments directly, but Chicago's a prime example. So for the last 20 years, multiple schools in Black African neighborhoods have been shut down, and Chicagoans have been begging for these buildings to be revitalized, turned into schools, potential hospitals, community centers, and just places for Black Americans to revitalize and be. And instead, they are now turned into migrant housing. So that is part of the strain on the system is migrants get a lot of concessions that they do not deserve. Illegal migrants, I should say. They're getting 6 months worth of free rent, point blank period, all across the United States. Maine, Chicago, Illinois, Maryland, New York. They are getting 3 hot meals in a cot. They're getting all of these concessions that they refuse to give Black Americans, that they refuse. They don't even do for white Americans or Asian Americans or anybody else that is actually American that's here legally or genetically here. I mean, they may not be getting these payments directly, but they are coming in and they're being placed in Black American neighborhoods. They're displacing us. They're moving us out of our neighborhoods. And literally so many neighborhoods have been taken over by illegal migrants. You go down to Brooklyn, New York, it's no longer Black. It's West Indian. You go down to the Bronx, it's no longer Black, and even Puerto Ricans. The Puerto Ricans are being moved out, bro. Now it's all illegals. It is all illegals. We are being displaced from our hereditary places that we have always been. The only Black neighborhood in New York, and anybody who is a New Yorker in the fucking comments will tell you, is Harlem. That is it. We used to control those boroughs with the exception of Hell's Kitchen. We used to be Irish and Italian. And now we're all pushed out of our areas. And these all this money that they're utilizing to house these people, to feed these people, their kids need education. Nora touched on that. Obviously, if you need English and Spanish, that's extra money because it requires what? A 504 plan, if not an IEP, and that brings specialized teachers, which is also another strain. And the simple fact is there's been many times New York City themselves have actually told Black children to stay home, and they have commandeered their gyms and placed illegal migrants in these gyms. So we're not paying them these payments directly. We're utilizing our tax dollars and taking care of people that shouldn't be here, but we refuse reparations for Black Americans. We refuse to revitalize our communities. And that's why Black Americans are sitting this conversation out. Bro, I already have my TikTok taken down. I keep telling Black Americans, this ain't our fight. Let them, who's ever, take care of themselves, because these people are here to take over. They're not here to work with us. They're not our allies. They're here to displace us, come in our communities and take over. So, I mean, it is what it is. They're not getting direct payments, but the facts are they are getting our money that they do not deserve. Real Black Americans deserve a Chicago with proper schools. All the money that they're spending on these extra teachers, how come that's not going to Black Americans in Chicago? Why should it go to an illegal migrant from South America or even Africa or any place? What makes them more deserving than Black Chicagoans?
Hold on, Mia. Hold on.
I'm gonna add one more thing too.
Mike motherfucking drop, man. Goddamn.
Why do we not deserve anything?
The interesting thing is that America doesn't want to invest in the Black community. That is not a brown problem. The brown community has never been anti-Black or has done anything to displace the Black Americans here in America. So I'm going to say this. How do you know when you go to New York that they are undocumented immigrants and not legal immigrants? Like, you just walk
because they put them up in hotels.
and you know that these people are all undocumented that live in Harlem or that live in wherever in New York. Like, that's a crazy thing to say, that they come to displace somebody. And the ones that were being kept in hotels were refugees. They came here, they did it the legal way. They were not undocumented immigrants. The thing about undocumented immigrants is that you don't even know where they're at because you cannot track them. They're here illegally.
That's such bullshit. I don't want to tell you what I do for work, but I live here. That's such bullshit. I work.
Skeptic, I live here. I live in the Northeast. I know what's going on.
Subsidies because you don't know where they're at because they're illegal. The ones that were being held up in hotel rooms that were sitting in the I guess it was like when school was out, they were using parts of the school to host refugees, were literally that. They had gone through the legal process of it. So if you want to argue against immigration, that's one thing. But when I look at the Black community and unemployment rates, when you see immigrants come in, you see an increase in undocumented immigrants, you don't see a decrease in unemployment or an increase in unemployment in the Black community. So I don't know where you're seeing that there is a negative effect, but Black and brown communities have always worked together. The Black Panthers and the Brown Berets worked together.
Let's land. Let's land.
So
that's
like,
horse shit. You can't say
that there is this going against the only people that have ever done anything negative to our communities are white people. It's not brown people against Black people.
Well, I ain't gonna argue that.
They're trying to pin us. They're trying to pin us against each other so that we don't have unity and so that we don't vote correctly. That's what they're trying to do. But in reality, America's racist. And America has now turned to the brown community.
Then why come here? If it's so racist, then why
come here?
So
I agree with that.
Leave. That America is not racist?
Do I think that there are systemic racist issues, Skeptic? Yes, but to sit here and say America's so racist, why the fuck y'all want to come here then? Like, let's be real.
What's the point?
America is racist.
I want to say one thing.
Part of this country.
Hold on. Everybody be quiet. Like, first off, it seems like this is like emotional. And a lot of people just aren't saying facts. You're really speaking from an emotional place. So, like, I mean, like, the numbers are there. The factual numbers are the numbers that are there mathematically. Mathematically, it's a net positive. That's where it comes down.
Okay, well, burn the country down for some illegals then, because that's what's going on. And excuse me, if they're not rounding people up, why did Homeboy, who's about to perform at the Super Bowl, say he's not doing shows? I don't want to hear that shit. If they're not rounding people up, what y'all protesting for? Y'all can't have it both ways. Y'all can't cry and say that they're going to people's schools, going to concerts, but then say that they're not illegal, but they're getting them at the courthouse. What is it? Let's pick a lane.
I want to add this, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on this topic. Skeptic is a prime example of what America shouldn't be. You literally are advocating for exploitation of your own fucking people. You literally said the quiet part out loud for us. You said, well, they're not at construction sites. They're not in our fields. They're not doing these jobs because we're getting rid of them. Weren't we as a country, right, against slavery and against exploitation of people? But now because they're a different shade of brown, it's completely fine because they're getting paid little bits of money. I think it's fucking crazy that you advocate for the Black community as hard as you do, but you will be fine with exploiting your own people who came here illegally. See, this is where we differ. This is where it's the right versus lunacy, because I'm actually a humanitarian. I could care less if my groceries are $15 for a fucking thing of eggs. At least I know somebody is making a livable wage and above minimum wage to do the job and not living in squalor in bunks with 12 people and taking jobs from people like me that are union electricians on job sites because they pay them less than us. That's where we differ.
So I'm going to respond because he called me by my name. Number one, I want to say, you put words in my mouth all the time when we have conversations. This is why I don't really tend to try to have conversations with you, because I don't know that you really like pay attention. I think you want to hear something and then you change my words to whatever it is that you want to hear. I don't know when you heard that. I never said that. And another thing is, if you can't get a job as an electrician, number one, if you know anything about being an electrician, you have to get a certification. You have to have a Social Security to be certified electrician. So if you can't get a job, that's not undocumented people's fault. That's your issue.
Oh, it is. So I'm in the industry. You're not.
Again, I know people who are like, my husband works in the.
Yeah, we know. You know, somebody in your family works for every fucking industry. We know.
Enzo if you cannot get a job as an electrician, that's not undocumented.
Hold on. All right. So here's the thing, right? I see it every single day, and I can name the companies that do this on a daily basis. It's not because we can't get jobs. No, it's because, again, they hire these people, and I've seen the conditions that they fucking live in. Okay? I've seen it. I've seen this. This is not me making shit up on the daily basis. And I didn't put any words in your fucking mouth. Trust me, we should play the clip back and show you exactly where you said it's cheap labor. You said it verbatim. There's no word twist, and I use your own words against you, and you do the typical liberal crash out bullshit that you all fucking do.
So now I'm gonna respond without you crashing out and getting
nobody needs you to respond.
You are very emotional, so just take a couple breaths, okay?
Because I don't deal with stupidity.
Again, to be an electrician, I never said that. You can roll the tape back. I will go and look at it myself. I never said that because that's not words that I say. I don't speak about undocumented immigrants like that. Again, in order to be an electrician, you have to get certified. In order to get certified, you have to have a social security. I want to say that in the 90s, they passed a rule where if you don't have a social security, you can't be a certified electrician. So again, I'm going to move forward. Talking about undocumented immigrants, I want to know where it is that we're paying for them and they're becoming a negative in our economy because it's just not true. And you want to sit there and say, like, I don't care about undocumented immigrants, but you literally said you do not care when people are getting shot. You act like you care about stuff, and in reality, you're the one that has no empathy. You're the person that has no empathy. You said earlier today, the lady that got shot by federal officers that I think is terrible, I don't care. Like, that's a crazy thing. And then turn around and try to talk about empathy.
Hold on, let's prove it. You don't care about Ashley Babbitt, who got shot by a federal officer.
And again, I did not interrupt you. And use that as an excuse. When the one thing that I am arguing for is for people to be treated like humans. We have undocumented immigrants that are being sent to El Salvador, like I said earlier. We have undocumented immigrants that are going missing. You just said good. So there we go. They want to talk about empathy. Don't talk to me about empathy. Don't talk to me about empathy whenever you yourself don't even care about the law or respect what you say you stand for.
Okay, we're gonna move on. I'm sick of this because
it was a long plane to say nothing.
I mean, I just put in the chat, undocumented people can become electricians in certain states. Let's move on. We're not gonna agree. I'm gonna skip this topic. Clearly, we're very fired up on this, but let's see if we can all agree or get along on this next one. We're going to move to the fun topic of the night. This was a topic that Kamal wanted.